it orbits the sun along with the Earth, so that the two man, this camera's fritzing out. Doesn't like being touched. However, so he showed, just drawing circles. The moon actually goes, like a right, just as we did with the planets all kind of moving along with the sun. It looks like the sun is, in the center, or it looks like the Earth is in the center and everything's going around the Earth, or it looks like we're going around the sun, or when you look at the bigger picture, we're all kind of moving towards Orion. So it was that kind of thing that he was talking about. The moon is actually orbiting the sun in conjunction with the Earth. So the Earth is,
I get that.
it pulls the moon a little bit, but the big pull, of course, is the sun as opposed to the Earth. So when you look at the movement of the moon in a bigger picture, he didn't go all the way to the one where everything's all moving, along with the sun. He just did the just back up a little bit and look at how the sun doesn't really go around the Earth in loops. Instead, it's kind of traveling around. It's just it angles a little bit here and there. But again, that's a whole perspective thing. Which perspective? How close of a model do you want to pay attention to? But then other things I read this morning were about black women feeling like, so that's how it is. You're never going to give black women a chance. As if the real reason Kamala wasn't elected was because she's a woman of color, which, in a way, I remember reading an interesting point in a book that pointed out that Hillary didn't do so well because, as an orator, she's female. And so she doesn't have the capacity, the lung capacity, literally, to do the same things that her husband did, Bill Clinton, right? And no, it's actually kind of interesting because of the pitch that she speaks at. I guess she's an alto, I guess, but also because of all the speeches she had been given, she was literally hoarse. Here she is trying to sound manly, in a acceptance speech when she was the candidate, and she couldn't do it for physical reasons, because of and having read that and watching Kamala give speeches, she was literally screaming at people. And I thought, that's not the way a leader should sound. When, on the other hand, when you listen to Trump, he's just having a conversation, not yelling, not screaming, just talking in almost like a normal conversational voice with the microphone. Except for a bit of exuberance here and there.
So the way we sound is more important than what's being said?
Well, the book is Eve by Kat Bohannon. I'll share this in case anyone's interested. But so, good morning. So, the one chapter is called Voice, and it's fascinating because it also talks about motherese, which is the way you start talking to an infant or a puppy. It turns out it's not just humans that do that when they're talking to newborns, and even younger children. I mean, as they're growing up and everything. When do you start speaking to them as an adult? You know, we literally, seemingly automatically change the tone of voice and the kinds of words we use and the pitch and everything. And she points out that one of the reasons that we're successful when we do that is because the hearing of a child is, because of the size of its ears and everything, it's able to hear higher pitches better than lower ones. So even males, you know, pick up the child and use what she calls motherese, you know, that we talk with, you know, oh, but no, it really gets into the whole, when hominins started speaking, you know, what evolutionarily might have driven that, and the difference between males and females. It's fascinating, actually. Greetings. Glad to see you survive the weather out there.
Oh, hell yeah.
It was actually not too bad today, I thought. It's when we get that cold rain right at the freezing point that
Yeah.
we get some really interesting drivers.
Yeah.
But I cheated. I mean, when I was stationed at Fort Rich, I was the battalion ice pad trainer. So I was the one that took all the new people and took them out in a Cuck V at the time. And you know, once the ice pad was an ice skating rink, and had them drive and spin and things, so they learned how to control the vehicle on the ice pad.
How did you do that?
So anyway, voice. When you think of the impact on it, but it was in that chapter that she had a section where she talked about one of the reasons Hillary didn't impress people as much was because of the feminine nature of her voice. And having read that and then watching segments at least of Kamala speaking, I thought, whoa, she's doing everything wrong. You know, the way she was using her voice, the way she was yelling and screaming basically in a very high pitch. Please.
I was wondering for the test, you were saying that some of these didn't require like a 300-word answer?
Yeah, because you could still put them in essays, but it's not going to work out that you can be imaginative and create a whole bunch of words. But as I was looking at the question, I thought, oh, that's not really going to drive 300 words. So I know that I won't grade it by 300 words. I have one example of test. I might have two, but I read through one response to it, and I just said, oh, well, A for you, because there were good answers on all three of the answers that the person picked.
So you do want 300-word in essays for some of these? Or?
If you can, remember the goal of this is for you to become as fluent a speaker of logic speak or philosophy speak as you can. And you know, if you take a course in a foreign language, immersion is really the best thing for it. I'm not suggesting being parachuted down into Siberia, you know, but that's a joke, you know. I'm not sure what language you would learn if you were, you know, but and just for the record, I'm not allowed to go to Russia. That's, you know, as far as I know. If I were interested, I'd have to apply for a special permit, but I have no interest in going to some place that's cold and, oh wait, I live in. No, I have no interest in going. Why would you want to physically go to a place when you could just go on the internet and hear whatever you want without having to pay for a hotel, flying in an airplane? And it's still the case that everybody I know who's flown somewhere recently came back, or during the time they were gone, they caught something, so that they were sick as a dog for a week or more. So, seems like traveling in a pack of people promotes various illnesses. No, but let's go to the test. How did I want to get to that? Easiest way. What's the easiest way? Let's go this way, because otherwise I have to unshare and reshare. So let's go here. But we did talk about the test. I'm not sure what we might not have covered in it. We'll go this way. So we talked about the hero's journey several times. That's fascinating. That's a fascinating question. We got a good response to the logical operators question. That one, the only real way to answer it is to have people who speak not only a Western European language, but some other language that doesn't isn't grammatically structured the way English is. That's actually applies to some and all as well. Remember, the neat thing about Quine was that he demonstrated in 1952 that they actually can be equivalent if you use his pattern to demonstrate that. So that some and all statements are actually equivalent, and predicate logic enables you to use examples based on his positions. Discuss the limitations of predicate logic when representing certain natural language statements. That's because in natural language, of course, we're much more able to use things like values, emotions, things that are unexpressible in a machine-like language. And you could take that and run with it, because what are the reasons that artificial intelligence is never going to be able to duplicate human speech? It can imitate it, I suppose, but you're never, as far as I understand it, you're never going to have a computer wanting something or desiring something or even understanding what it's doing. My favorite was back when IBM Big Blue played chess, and people pointed out, even though it beat the master in a couple games or whatever, it didn't even know it was playing chess. So that's fun. And then I think we looked at the ChatGPT response to to question 5, and discovered that it at least gave me a grammatically incorrect answer because of the way it was phrased. You could certainly attempt to apply that as an example of how. That's like if you were doing computer coding, how would you code that, into a. Those are the kinds of problems that people have writing code. that they become fluent speakers of whatever language, the computer code that they're using. And how might predicate logic be used to represent ethical principles in philosophy?